recording, just a second. So welcome everyone. Today here is the first day here of our Teacher Development Institute. You know that every year we have TESOL-Ukraine Teacher Development Institute, and today here we're having it in a really great company because Vladimir Hashilik from the United States is joining us. He's our colleague from the NGO Sustainable Development Landmarks. And we will also have sessions with colleagues from different parts of the world. There will be people from Britain, from California, TESOL, and the best moment is that we'll have all of you around, and for these 2 months, we'll try to learn more about AI and how to use it in education. Of course, the topic is very new, and you understand that we are not the experts. This institute is more for sharing what we all know about AI by now and how we can use it. So now, first, I'm giving floor to Elena Ilyenko, TESOL-Ukraine president, just for a couple of seconds.
Thank you. Thank you, Marina, for inviting me and limiting me well, for a couple of seconds. I'm so glad to see all of you here online and to start this new series of webinars of TESOL-Ukraine prepared in cooperation with our partners. As you know, some latest developments like ChatGPT has existed in the public space for only 2 years, but the methods of its using, positive and negative aspects of this program have already caused heated discussions and controversial comments all over the world. And the event will take place in the form of series of 4 pre-recorded and 6 online webinars presented in October and November, as well as group discussions, contributing comments and collaborating in a final group project focused on using artificial intelligence in education. The task of the participants, as we see it, is to prepare 10-minute presentations on the personal experience of using AI in your class. We believe that this Teacher Development Institute will be a pioneering event designed to empower and advance the educational landscape in Ukraine, supply a deep learning architecture, provide curriculum diversity and innovation, using technologies for teaching and learning English. And we are, as Marina has already mentioned, we are greatly thankful to our partners from North Carolina, CA TESOL, and the NGO Sustainable Development Landmarks. So the program of the Institute you can find in a special group dedicated to the events. It is a detailed program, and the certificates for 30 academic hours will be given to all the participants of the Teacher Development Institute after presentation of your final presentation on the methods of using AI in your class. So they will be focused on the key issue of this program. And now I believe the floor will be given to our valuable partners, the head of the NGO Sustainable Development Landmarks, Volodymyr Gashilek, please.
Thank you so much. Hi, guys. So it's a great pleasure to be here today because, well, you know, I'm a TESOLer as well. And I can see a lot of familiar faces and like greetings from California, from Berkeley. I do hope that everyone is safe and your relatives are safe. So I do hope that we will have victory in the nearest future and everything will be okay. We'll continue working and participating in different like events related to valuable issues of developing critical thinking skills, academic integrity, clear methodology, whatnot. So at the moment we are doing a great job together because like with our conference we are raising the word about Ukraine and we are like appealing to the public and showing them that like we have a lot of problems and education losses in Ukraine. At the same time, we also show that we have a lot of things to offer. So that's why like I do hope that like America and the United States of America and Europe like do hear us. So with our conference, this virtual conference on sustainable education, we also try to invite as many interested stakeholders and keynote speakers as possible. And they do address a lot of interesting questions, and AI is among them. So with this very event and this initiative, we co-partner with TESOL. I do hope like we'll be able to add more tools to our educators' belt and learn more about artificial intelligence in education and how to use it properly. So I would also like to invite you to our joint event to happen in November. It's the Kids First Film Festival. It will be hosted by TESOL, our organization, and in partnership with the Kids First organization we have here in California. It's a very good event, and I do hope that you'll have a lot of fun. So thank you so much for being so active and productive. I wish all of you and your families lots of health and inspiration for future endeavors, and hope to see you soon at some offline event, either here in California or in Ukraine after our victory.
Thank you so much, Volodymyr. Thank you. And as you probably have all understood, Volodymyr is presenting organization Sustainable Development Landmarks. I put the links in the chart. And from this conference, the SMART conference that Volodymyr has mentioned, we are taking 3 lectures. When Volodymyr told me about the conference and I watched the lectures, I thought that it's a pity not to disseminate them among the colleagues. So the lectures from Sustainable Development Landmarks Conference is SEVIC. So it's called SEVIC. So these lectures we will use them as pre-recorded sessions, and I will be sharing the links. The rest of the sessions will be like we can't say face-to-face, but they will be online. And until I give floor to Roman, I also have to make a very small announcement. On Friday, like in 2 days, we'll have another session with Christopher Stilwell. Christopher Stilwell is our great friend from California, TESOL. And he already had delivered a workshop to TESOL-Ukraine. It was in May. So we have the pre-recorded version of his workshop, and you will be asked to watch this pre-recorded version of his workshop until Friday. Like, sorry, but there is one day left, and on high speed, probably you will watch this workshop. But on Friday, he will be in person with us, and he will be updating us on everything that he has learned since May. So it is really necessary to watch his lecture before Friday. And that's probably all I wanted to tell you. So really, really glad to see all of you. And now I give floor to Imagine, it's Ukrainian corruption. So I give floor to my son, Roman. Yeah, and it's not that I'm so much proud of him, you know that I'm very proud of him, but he was the first person who introduced me to ChatGPT. And when we were thinking about the program for the Teacher Development Institute, we really lacked just one piece of the puzzle. We really needed this word from a technician, from an engineer, like something to put us into the story. How did it all start? And I was looking for the people, and Roman very kindly agreed to do this. And he will briefly introduce himself. Now he's in his office, and that is how his office looks like. This is the wall. It's not this, like, how do we say it? It's not the special screen. And now I give floor to Roman.
Thank you for the introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Roman. Pleasure to be here. Now I'm going to share my screen. And yes, please let me know if there are any issues. It should be fine. So, hi to everyone again. My name is Roman. As Marina introduced me, I have a computer science and mathematics background. I worked both in artificial intelligence and did research back in my master's around machine learning. And that's what my first introduction to artificial intelligence was. Since then, I bounced around, had different businesses, and now I work in a startup where we work on community platform. But as part of that, we also are introducing some artificial intelligence components to it. I'm a huge proponent of this as a tooling, and I kind of try to spread knowledge as much as I can, talk around it, because I think we are living in essentially an evolution of how we're going to work. Artificial intelligence is going to greatly change how we do all day-to-day tasks in next 5 to 10 years. And this latest iterations that came out in past 2 years is going to be probably the biggest jump yet. So today I want to talk first a bit briefly about foundations, like short about history of artificial intelligence. And then I want to talk specifically about, ChatGPT and more broadly LLMs, which is large language models, and show you some practical examples of how it can be used in education and how people already use in education. Feel free to write any questions in the chat. I'm going to try to keep my eye on the chat and maybe address the questions as we go through the presentation. All right. Yeah, so I want to talk a bit about history of artificial intelligence, talk about recent developments, like what changed, why are we suddenly hearing about artificial intelligence, discuss a bit more what are large language models and what is in particular ChatGPT. Then talk about applications of artificial intelligence in education. This is not by any means exhaustive, but this is what I see as the main applications right now, and give you some examples of like how you can use ChatGPT tomorrow for education with some practical examples. And also it's a free tool, right? So my advice is just try to experiment with it, look at it, and try to see how you integrate it in your own life. Okay, now let's get started. So brief history of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is rather new field if you look into sciences in general, but it is a pretty old field in terms of computer science. So the first artificial intelligence experiments can be traced back to 1950s when the Turing test came out, and we first started thinking how to disconcern what is a computer and what is an artificial intelligence. That's the famous Turing test, named after Alan Turing, who was a famous pioneer of computer science in general. And in 60s and 70s, there was a lot of excitement around artificial intelligence. It continued developing. There was a lot of investment, but all the ideas were around rules-based. Rules-based meaning if some condition happens, do this. If another condition happens, do this. But throughout 60s and 70s, people figured out that that's roughly not how intelligence is formed, or at least you cannot script all what we think about intelligence in this way. So in the end of 70s, we went through a period of we call it a winter in computer science, whereas the interest in artificial intelligence dropped until it reemerged in mid-80s. And starting mid-80s, that's when the foundations for what we have now were kind of introduced. And the idea was to heavily base all the reasoning on statistics, right? So the larger statistical models you're gonna have, the better. And that's where machine learning came. First, right, machines, they don't particularly learn per se. Learning in this case means processing as much data and getting some results out of the data. This would be machine learning. And so throughout 80s, 90s, foundations were given. And then in 2000 and 2010s, we really had a jump with techniques like deep learning and neural networks. Partially that happened because computation continued to become cheaper. The second part was that data continued to become more abundant. And that eventually led to generative AI and explosions of LLMs, which is what we're living through now. Any maybe questions so far? All right. Then, so recent developments. Why are we suddenly hearing so much about AI? So in the past 5 to 10 years, the first thing that happened is computational power got really cheap. We're talking about, tens. There is a question, what are LLMs? LLMs are large language models. It's an umbrella term for things like ChatGPT. ChatGPT would be an example, but there are many other similar things like ChatGPT. And I will explain briefly what are large language models in a bit. So why is it change, right? There is an explosion of data. The more and more data comes online, more and more data has become digitalized, and we could use, since we're using statistical approach in artificial intelligence, we can use all of this data and computational power to make new inference. Another question is, my presentation created by AI? Yes. I did an outline of the presentation with AI, then I edited it and edited my own thoughts. And yeah, it is most of it. I would say 80 to 90% of base was done by AI. And the second part is there's rise of what we call helpful tools. Throughout 2010s, and I participated in some of this research when I studied in the United States, a lot of tooling around artificial intelligence and training the models became widely available just to regular developers outside of, let's say, big companies or universities. They would open source it, and that sparked a new era of collaboration and advancement of these models. And then about 2 or 3 years, the first rumblings of large language models started to appear. We only started using ChatGPT 3. There was ChatGPT 2. I played around with it some time ago, but it was not even close in quality to ChatGPT 3. And now we are further. There was another comment that the tool can create slides. No, there are tools based in ChatGPT that can create slides, create images, basically anything. So it did create the slides, and I can show you how actually it was created, but it was created also with AI, the layout and everything. Okay, so what are large language models, right? So ChatGPT was developed by OpenAI, and OpenAI first used to be a nonprofit that was founded for advancement of AI, but at some point they did turn to becoming a for-profit organization once they realized that their thing is really good. Large language models are based on you consume as much data as possible. And the basic idea is that at each point when you're printing out next word, let's say you ask it a question, right? What is the capital of Ukraine? Or what is, what is going on right now? And the next word is going to be determined based on statistical model, like what is the most probable word. I'll share a link in the end where you can see an interactive one, how it actually works. It's a really good interactive explanation. But the basic idea is you have a super big data set. You look at all the combinations of words. We're talking about trillions and trillions of data. And based on that, you try to infer for any question or anything, what is the next most probable or the best word for this case. And ChatGPT can engage in different, interactive, dynamic conversations. You can use it. Chat in itself is just a chat, right? It's a textual thing, but you can use it also for creating layouts. Now the newer versions are going to be processing images, generating images. They're going to be able to write code, create videos, and so on. So think of it as a larger innovation in terms of how do we take this very, very large amounts of data, and based on those data, how do we infer the answers to some questions, right? And how is this relevant for education? There are a couple of things that I feel that it can be mostly helpful in education. And I think it boils down to how do you think about AI in general. There is a lot of kind of worry that AI is going to replace certain jobs or do certain things for us. But in reality, there is this joke that AI is not going to replace you, but the person who leverages AI is likely to replace you. So think of these tools is something that is going to make you more efficient in your day-to-day process, right? Whether it's evaluating kids, whether it's writing new content, whether it's coming up with new methodologies, like different things. AI is meant to enhance your capabilities, take out the mundane work, give you more ideas. One of the things with AI is that you rarely have to start from clean sheet anymore. Let's say when you're thinking about a new topic or you need to write something, you can ask AI for ideas. And the best thing to think about it, it's like a virtual assistant for both teachers and students that can provide instant help and guidance. It can assist in a lot of things like answering questions, explaining concepts, giving you personalized experience. And it has a huge potential to make lives both easier for educators, right? We know that educators are very busy. They have a lot of things. They have a lot on their plate, right? Everybody's a bit overwhelmed. And also enhance student engagement while also providing a learning. Okay, so that's so far. Any questions? I see a question. Can anti-plagiarism checkers detect text passages generated by? Yes, there is some work, or at least I know it of multiple startups that can tell you what is the likelihood that this text was written with AI or with ChatGPT in particular. It's still early. I think in general, the answer would be no tool is perfect, and we'll talk in a bit later. There is still a lot of questions to resolve around AI. Plagiarism is one. There's questions around privacy. There's huge questions around intellectual property, and yeah. So that's that. And then let's go for education. All right. So what are the applications of AI in education? I would give like three main ones, and I would give some example of these three main ones and see. First one is automated content creation. Right, so AI can help you greatly to generate educational content, quizzes, exercises, study materials, anything that kind of can enhance whatever you're teaching at this particular moment. And then adaptive assessment systems. AI-powered systems can also help you assess students better, and with time you will be able to build, let's say, you can say you build a lot of materials on a particular student, and you'll be able to feed all of that to AI to find some strengths, weaknesses, to see how the student is learning. The more data you generate, the better it's going to be. And the last one is related to intelligent tutoring systems. So AI is a great supplementation in explaining concepts, helping students to ask more questions, right? It's sometimes much easier to talk to AI than to talk to a teacher, to an educator. It's easier to ask questions, and it's something that is readily available for you. Okay, cool. So now it's going to be two things. So I'm going to both, yeah, I'm going to just show you some examples of ChatGPT. So first is an automated content creation. So I wrote a couple of prompts that I'm going to show you how they work. And we could use some of those prompts in ChatGPT itself. Let me see how I copy those prompts. Give me a second. Yeah, okay, cool. So, okay, so this is, I don't know how many people have seen what is ChatGPT, but this is how the interface looks like. You enter, and it's basically just a text, so you can send it a message. And let's say the first message, we're gonna ask it to generate a vocabulary exercise that to any words related to travel, along with their translations. We can ask it for translations. We can ask it for many different things, right? So we push it. I hope it's visible. I can make it a bit bigger, right? So I wrote it here, and it quickly generated me ideas, right? It generated me both words, it generated me also translations, and it generated me sentences where those words can be used. And the thing is that from here, I can continue talking to the AI and ask to adjust, right? For example, I can say, it's good, but let's topic travel only. And it's gonna go, and then it's gonna adapt and generate it more for airport content, right? So it's a more specific content. So this is an example number one. As you can generate any exercises, it gives you, again, you probably should not use this as a final product, but it's a good thing for you to get ideas, to get inspired, to maybe get some other perspectives. So this is, for example, one. And then let's do the next prompt, which is create a grammar quiz focusing on present perfect tense, consisting of 10 questions with multiple choice answers, along with correct answers and explanations. I mean, this is gonna be pretty long, but here's an example for you to what it generates, right? Sarah read 3 books this month. It gives you both options, correct answer, and gives the explanations that you can use both for yourself and for the materials. Here are different questions, and then again from here you can keep talking and you can keep adjusting. What do you want from, let's say, in this case, it's your assistant. What do you want an assistant to do? And then let's do last example that I had, which is script a dialogue between 2 people planning a trip together to be used for listening comprehension exercise. Include 5 comprehension questions to assess understanding of the dialogue, along with correct answers and explanations. And then, yeah, it's going to create basically a scripted dialogue. And it can give you questions for comprehension. You can ask it anything you want, both in terms of what is generated and in terms of what do you want out of it, any information, iterate. And then from here, we can ask either change a topic, to expand. For example, I can say, make a dialogue a bit longer and do it between 3 people. And it's going to adjust it this way, right? Now it's between 3 people, the dialogue is going to be longer, and so on. Any questions so far? Or I know this is pretty fast, and this is meant more as a demonstration. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer, I suppose, in the chat. Yeah. Cool. Then let's proceed. Yeah, so somebody wrote the idea is to be precise with the prompts. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you need to, I wouldn't say precise. The idea is for you to adjust the prompts. Like you're never gonna get on the first try what you want. The idea is to keep talking to ChatGPT to adjust it. Like I asked it once and then read what it says. I can say, change this, change this, change this. Sometimes conversations that I would have for what I need can be 50, 60, 70, 80, and so on. Questions. So it doesn't really end with the first prompt. It's how do you adjust and how do you iterate towards what is it in the end. And it's not really meant for it to be either the final product that you're going to use. In the end, you're still going to have to add a human touch. Like it's not meant to be as a replacement of you. It's unlikely that right now this tool is going to create something better than the human, but it's meant to help you be more efficient, and it should be treated as such. The same way, ChatGPT is very upfront about it. It sometimes can give you your own facts, sometimes can be incorrect. And then it's a new tool that is not supposed to be, 100% correct. Like we're not living in that environment. But think of it as how do I use it for me to be more efficient, or for me to help me be more efficient. Okay, and then the second part. The next one, I wanted to show you how it can be used for assessment. Wait, I think adaptive assessment systems. Yeah, so let me give you an example. So you can even give it like if you want to grade something, you can even give something directly to grade. So let me give you an example here, or provide you some feedback. So this is going to be a rather long one. So where grade the following set of answers, explain the process of photosynthesis, compare each response to the provided answer key, assign a score, provide feedback on the incorrect information and missing information. I give it also the correct answer, and then I give responses from the students. This is all like simulated, responses 1 to 3, right? So it processes this, right? And it starts grading the student, and not only grades, it gives feedback and a score. You can ask for even suggestions. You can ask for further. Yeah, right. This especially is going to be subjective. The things like score and the things like feedback, but it can serve as a base or pointing out something in particular that is that you need to pay attention to. And in this case, it gives different scores to different students, and it says why, and what can be done better. So in future, imagine right now this is a simple tool, but in future, imagine if we have more digital submissions from students, it can be analyzed on a larger scale. It can be like first pre-grading done with AI tools. And then I'm going to give you a second example, which is this. There was a question that you still need to check the answers. Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, as I mentioned before, this tool is not meant to give you the final solution. Of course, maybe in the future, we're going to come to a point where we trust the tools far enough to do automated checking. Maybe. But then it's at this point, I don't think so. And I think in general, still, it will be more enhancing human capability. But there will still be some check by humans because there's bias, there is sometimes incorrectness. Sometimes you didn't ask the prompt correctly, so it's hard to judge. Let me give you a second answer. The second example, which I find is like, provide an automated feedback to the following essay submission based on grading rubric focusing on thesis clarity, evidence, analysis, and writing mechanics. Assign a score out of 100 and provide personalized feedback for improvement. So the title of the essay is The Impact of Social Media on Use. The rubric is thesis clarity, 25 points. So all the rubrics are 25 points. And then there is a submission that I copied from the internet that pasted on this topic. And here we go. Yeah, and it provides. So for each specific rubric, it reads the text. It says what is good, bad, and it gives the suggestions how to improve. Okay, so Okay, so this is it. There were some questions. As far as students' responses have to be filed in a file form. So the future, like very soon already, ChatGPT is rolling out a version where you can basically take a picture and it transcribes and it can manipulate with that picture. I cannot show you this yet because I don't have access to this, but I assume that it's not really going to have to be digital form very soon. Like we already have the technology basically on our phones to do image recognition that is pretty good. And in near future, AI is going to easily support taking those images, then breaking them down, understanding, sometimes deciphering, translating, and so on. And there was another question is, I have ChatGPT Plus. Is there a difference between that and free version? Yes, I think ChatGPT Plus, there is a difference in two things. More complicated reasoning is better in GPT-4. And the second thing, GPT-4 has access to things like plugins, which is, in this case, for example, they have a plugin that can browse the internet too. So original ChatGPT 3.5 or 3, it was trained on the data until, I think, July 2021 or something like that. So there is a data cutoff. So it doesn't know about new events. Because, for example, if I ask it, something about the current event, it will not know. But ChatGPT-4 can already browse internet, know new things, and the new features are going to be rolling out through GPT-4. But overall, for most of the cases, it's enough to use GPT 3.5. It's faster and it's free. So, cool. Okay, and then let's do the last one. The last one is tutoring system for students. One of the things that people around the world or educators think that the most revolutionary part about this is going to be to provide personalized tutoring services. Personalized tutoring, I mean, it's considered one of the differential, right, in performance. And students will be able to basically access this on-demand assistant who can answer questions, provide feedback, everything as a supplement to instructions, right? It's never going to be a replacement. We only think it as a supplement. Like, let me give you an example. I'm a student and I ask a very simple question. I don't understand how to solve quadratic equations. And then it's going to give me an example, right? Solving quadratic equations, blah, blah, blah. It's going to start giving me examples, but I can simplify it. I can say, okay, please explain it to me like I am 5. And it's going to try to come up with a simpler explanation that is more focused, that is more easier to comprehend. You can then focus as a student, right? Let's say I'm still learning about quadratic equation. I can then double down on a specific question and ask, tell me more about number 2. Give me more examples. As a student, you have just much more, basically any questions with explanations, but in the form of dialogue are here. And then let me show you another example from this. English is my second language. And I need help with constructing complex sentences. Any advice? So it gives me advice, right? How can you construct? Like, what do you focus on? But then we can say, can you please make it simpler and also translate advice and also translate each point in Ukrainian with examples. So, and see, it's gonna then just recycle it up. It's gonna be able to translate it to Ukrainian, and then it's going to give examples. So again, as a student, I can always, as long as I'm taught to think about it in a proper way, right? How to formulate questions. Like a lot of this is how to formulate questions, how to ask, how to follow up. I'm able to just learn more, like continue digging. Okay, I think this is all for the examples. And then, benefits and challenges. I want to talk about two things. I mean, first, the biggest benefit of this is personalization. Like you can literally ask whatever is more particular to you, right? You're not Googling anymore. Like you're getting an answer to a question that is more specific to you. You can base on the previous answers. So personalization, efficiency. A lot of automation is going to come for simpler tasks through AI. And then engagement. Like AI tools will make a lot of things about learning and education more interactive because you can bounce things around. You'll be able to generate specific images that are related to a particular topic and everything in between. Like the interactivity is going to increase greatly. And the challenges are in a couple of things. I mean, first of all, data privacy is a big thing. Everything you're talking about with AI, it's stored somewhere, in this case, on OpenAI servers, and we're not really sure yet what is done with the data. Second is ethical considerations. So in some cases, AI is biased, right? It's gonna answer if you ask it open-ended questions, has a bit of left-leaning political bias because that's how our media overall is. It's left-leaning global media, so it has bias in that sense. Sometimes has racist bias. So those are still things to figure out, especially when you ask some open-ended questions or an opinion on harder political issues and so on. And the last one is implementation hurdles. It's going to take a bit of time to introduce this everywhere and also in an efficient manner and teach people. So yeah, there is a bit of a time lag there. And last two things I want to take out of this. I think there's a lot of stuff overall, but the first one is check out ChatGPT. Like how I started once the technology came out. I forced myself to just use it every day instead of Google for a lot of things. Yeah, just have it open instead of like, right, when you search for something on the internet, you usually go to Google. If it's a question that is not just informational, but a more open-ended question, ask it ChatGPT. Try to train that muscle of creating prompts, thinking about how you formulate questions, doing that. So ChatGPT, and from there, you can even just ask ChatGPT about ChatGPT, and from there it grows. I don't think there really needs to be more resources on that because it can tell you all of this. Like most of this presentation was done by ChatGPT. Anything can be really good through that. And then I will share a separate separate guide, which is what is LLMs. This is much more interactive and it actually explains a bit background how it works, roughly on a word. So if you're interested, check it out. Like it's a best explainer I've seen in terms of what are large language models in general. Great. I think this is it. I'm now happy to take questions.
Sorry, have you shared the link to this article in the chat?
Sure. I'm just going to share the article too. I'm just going to share a link to the slides. Just take it and run with it. I mean, yeah. And
I will also send the slides to our Telegram group. The slides will be there as well. So, okay. Thank you so much. And questions, please.
If you want me, I can. If you have something that you want me to show, I'm happy to show that also. But yeah, like any questions, I'm happy to answer.
I've got one. May I?
Sure, of course.
Thank you so much for a wonderful presentation. So it was really interesting. You gave us a lot of clues. So thank you. Highly appreciate it.
Pleasure.
I've got a question related to the problem of academic integrity. What do you think about like this? And when we have some tools to do, because if I'm not mistaken, it is possible just to dehumanize the ChatGPT results as well, in order just to use all those materials in our like everyday work or study. So what do you think about that? Because The problem is probably not in GPT itself, but in the ability to persuade our kids not to lie to themselves, not only to their teachers. Thank you.
I mean, I think this is right. This is an incentive problem. When I was in my master's in the United States, and I was a teaching assistant, and as part of that, we were also grading people, and that was 2015. People cheat, like people cheat in school. Children are going to cheat in schools. People are going to cheat even in their masters, right? Where you would think that it's already they're getting a postgraduate degree, but they still cheat, and we still catch them. And I think, will this make it easier? For sure, and especially for a lot of simpler tasks. I've read articles how the school boards, let's say, United States, are thinking, because what I think this will do is essentially you will have to rethink how we evaluate performance, right? Because a lot of questions about facts, or a lot of like simpler things that are just going to be done through ChatGPT. Eventually, the tools will come out will allow us to check more, what it is. But in the end, nothing is going to prevent the student from asking ChatGPT a lot of questions and then rewriting it in its own words if we are asking only about fact-based. So I think it's going to be a combination of two. First, the tools to check the integrity for sure will be there as this becomes more popular. But second, eventually we're going to have to think differently about how we evaluate certain things, because like this world change, kids are now much more digitally fluent, right? Like you have this on their phone, and sometimes when I work with like younger generation, they're way more fluent. Like they're going to figure out how to use these tools. Most of them are already using it, and there just have to be an adjustment. Like what is evaluation, and how do we judge it? Yeah. That's my opinion. But then again, I'm curious to see how it's going to pan out. Like because I've been on both as a student and as a person who evaluated others, and we in some cases we even had to go through ethics committee in US when we caught people cheating. It's like it's a hard question.
Right. Thank you so much.
I have not a question, but the comment to just previous words, what Volodymyr was talking about. And actually that is also related to academic integrity. And that is our common pain about the students' course papers and like diploma papers. So we have the special programs, right? Plagiarism that is actually checks the percentage of plagiarism in the students' research, and actually so the papers that exceeds actually they're not allowed to be defended. So what are the students doing? So they're just loading that paper to ChatGPT and says, paraphrase that. So the level of paraphrases and just white spaces increase. And so the program doesn't just calculate that excessive amount. So that is like, again, that's about cheating, but that's also about the quality of the research and extra body movements for us, scientific supervisors, how to deduce. So like all the procedure, where is the independent results? And so what are what is the percentage of the material that is like just cut and pasted and so like plagiarized?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay. That's our pain, but we will be talking about it for so many. Like this year, I had a master's student who was doing her research with me, and she calls me and she says, my daughter gave me ChatGPT. Now everything will be okay. And then in a month, she just calls again and she says, okay, let's start doing what you said before, because it didn't work. So we'll see how it works. If you have any questions, please ask them. The recording will be in our chat. The recording of this session will be in our chat. And please remember that we meet again on Friday, like very short term between two sessions, but we're meeting for Christopher Stilwell and his comments. Again, Romachka, thank you so much. I hope, because that's what, in my opinion, we needed just to start. Because you will see that other presentations, they will be more advanced in terms of what educators do. But this technical background was very necessary to start getting acquainted. And by the way, how many of you haven't used ChatGPT yet? Are there any people who are not using ChatGPT? Okay, so Oksanочка, you don't. Okay, oh, perfect. Perfect. Yeah, so great. This session was mostly for you because this introduction will help you to do other steps. And we'll have a great presentation from CEVIC conference from NGO Sustainable Landmarks on prompting ChatGPT. That is like point one we start with, how we prompt it, what we do, how we train it. Like Roman told me that he programs with ChatGPT, and very often, Rom, can you comment on this, that when you know how to prompt?
For sure, for sure. I mean, it's a training thing, right? You train a muscle of how to ask questions because it goes deeper. Like, how do you formulate your question in a best way to do it? And the more you learn, like, it's a muscle. You train it. You also learn how the tool works. That's why, if you take out two things of this presentation, I would say this are two main ones. First, think of which things in your work are mundane and you would want to be automated, or where you would need assistance with. And the second part, really do check out ChatGPT, like this tool, because this is going to influence a lot of things, not only in education, but it has a potential to make you more productive. Like, it's a muscle to train. Like, I use it everywhere. Like, at this point, it integrates in so many things. I come from computer science background, but the second part is just a lot of newer tools that I use for note taking. One of the things is ChatGPT takes all my book notes and it summarizes, and it actually improves them. Let's say I miss some key points. It can summarize me all my book notes and get it together. Sometimes you can make links between. So there's a lot of things you can use it for, but you need to start, like, my advice is to start thinking of what stuff can this help me with. Spend time experimenting with it. It's free again. And yeah, just, welcome to the future, because this is going to be pretty big in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, and my comment, like, I'm in great love with ChatGPT, and prompting is the biggest moment here. Like, asking the right questions, doing the right detours, like going to the right directions. That is the biggest fun. And Roman also showed me the ChatGPT. Can you write a story, and then you tell ChatGPT, please rewrite the story as Somerset Maugham.
Yeah. I mean, my favorite one
is rewritten in his style. Sorry.
But no, my favorite one is, like, I keep a journal, and sometimes I write, and then I put it in ChatGPT and I ask it, let's say, rewrite it as Tolkien, or rewrite it as Taras Shevchenko. To see itself. I mean, Taras Shevchenko is not really good, particular, but because there is not that much English translations that is good quality. But for Tolkien, it's there. Rewrite me is in a style of J.K. Rowling, and it's, in terms of that, it's just a very interesting thing itself. So somebody asked the question: can it make you feel uncomfortable or useless that AI can do it better than you? I would think about it in this way again. Like, it's an augmentation tool. It is not creative in its essence, but it's really good in performing mundane tasks. Like, it's really good in because what it essentially does is processes trillions and trillions of words and information really fast to give you an answer. Like, you as a human, you're never going to be able to do it. But what it doesn't do is, like, make deeper connections, come up with new ideas, and so on. So think of AI as more, it's not going to replace me, make me feel inferior, but it's going to augment my capability. right? It's gonna make me do my job better. It's gonna allow me to be more creative. Ideally, I would do less of things I don't want to do and more of things that I love about my job, that I love about educating, in this case, educating kids, right? There is things we enjoy more and things we enjoy less. So think of AI in those terms.
Is it the good phrase to? Okay, so I hope it was a good beginning. Thank you so much for your faces. Roman, thank you so much for your presentation. And we'll be working together during 2 months. And we'll see what your presentations in the end will be. Maybe you will share with us a book written as Tolkien, or maybe your students will write as Tolkien did. So we'll see, and we'll be helping each other, we'll be discussing, and see you on Friday again. Here, this week is an I week. Okay, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
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 Goodbye. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks a lot.
Goodbye. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.